I'm Jeremy, and I'm the CEO of WPUP. I've actually started always being an entrepreneur. I think it started back when I was about 12. I don't know if you guys know, like it's called beedies. It's like an Indian kind of cigarette. So my friends and I, we kind of smoked back then, right? And then one of my friends introduced me to these little Indian cigarettes. I'm like, oh, what are these, right? These are kind of cool. Anyways, he got hooked up to buy it, and then we started selling it in the schoolyard. So that was my first experience in terms of entrepreneurship. Since then, I started a web hosting company to host some of the TDSP school boards. I think the only time I've actually worked for somebody was when I was 16. I went to work for a medical center, and from there I should say, when I went to do the medical center stuff, it almost turned me off in terms of working for somebody, because it was a very 9-to-5 kind of environment. I call it outlazing each other, because people will clock in like 9:15, but they'll check out at like 4:45, right? And when you try to push stuff, you want to change stuff within like the hospitals, within the organization. You want to propose new changes and all that kind of stuff, innovative stuff. It would always go through layers of politics, should I say, right? And things would never move because people don't want change, right? If you work harder than someone else, you make everyone else look bad. So after going through that experience, I didn't want to work for someone ever again. So I made it a promise, hey, I want to hire people that are not like that, and I'm going to, do something that get people involved that are, more passionate in what they're doing. I'm willing to make a change. See, going through the entrepreneurial stage, I never really had a mentor. Even now, I don't know if I would have had a mentor. I think it's nice because I have a mentor now. I have a few actually, and it's propelled certain things. I don't know who I would have chosen back then. I really like the idea of kind of, see an obstacle and just going through it and just trying it out, right? Someone will tell you. I find that sometimes mentors will tell you a lot of advice, but if you don't follow the advice, then what's the point of having a mentor, right? And I feel like if you go and you experience yourself, you get to tell the story. You know what I mean? When you fail, you get to tell that story, right? When you go through it, it's your story to tell. It's your experience to tell, right? If someone told you what to do and you did it, and you're like, yay, it doesn't feel as good. So I find that back then, would I go back in time and get a mentor? Maybe if I wanted to accelerate the business faster, but I also really enjoyed actually just going through the obstacle. So WPUP, we help small businesses, entrepreneurs sleep better without having to worry about their site. So we proactively manage and we support their site. Most entrepreneurs, I find that they don't want to deal with the nuance of managing a website. They don't like to update their own posts. They don't want to change stuff on the page. Or sometimes if they have a developer or an agency, they would ask them, but it will usually take about 2 to 3 days before they get back to you and then to make the change. Our service, essentially within 24 hours, your changes are done. In fact, most of the updates are done within 4 hours, and you just pay a small monthly fee, nothing else, unlimited changes. The industry is growing pretty quickly, but the thing is, it's very stop and go. So the current licensing process is taking way too long for too many people, but I call it a marathon. It's not, it's a long process. The last one of my friends, Bruce, he just got his cultivation license, and it took him roughly almost 3 years just to get the cultivation license. Then he has to grow additional crops and get the standard operating procedure all checked out by Health Canada before he's even licensed to sell. So he's probably got at least another year to go, right? And so that process is a very long process. But now that Trudeau's in power, and Bill Blair is saying that by next year, spring 2017, they're going to try to legalize, right? It's going to be a big change. The industry is very, I would say, very gray in terms of which direction it's going. But I can tell you that in Toronto, there's dispensaries popping up almost once a week. I see at least 4 of them on Queen Street right now. One in Spadina and Adelaide. I mean, something I haven't seen in the last 3 months. Like, they're just popping up left, right, and center. So, you know, people I think are, and they're illegal. They're not legal. I don't know how they're open, but they're illegal. But police are just, no one's doing anything about it right now. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. But I think the industry is going to trend towards legalization of it. But what I worry about that is because I went to Denver a few times, Colorado, where it's actually fully legalized. And while it's great for tax money and all that kind of stuff, I don't feel like it's the best for the community, right? I feel like when I went to Denver, went to a couple of shows, like people are passed out stoned. They're doing really hard stuff, like it's called dab. Basically, it's very highly concentrated dosage of, THC or marijuana in that case, right? It makes you feel like you're drunk, like right away. And I think that's quite dangerous. I think if Canada, if they legalize it and they set policies in place on what you can and cannot make, something that's more controlled, with proper packaging, like the tobacco industry, whatever case might be, right? Or the alcohol industry, like how much alcohol percentage, all that kind of stuff, then I would think that would be a great move. But in Colorado, there's nothing like that, so people are making it really highly concentrated, so it become kind of almost like a hardcore drug. Yeah, that's something I fear that may happen here.